Robin, the Olsons, the Sanders, the Fairbanks. It's always fun to see people, the Wakefields, and it's like you see the people that you know in the temple, and then you definitely get the vibe of like, yep, this is what it's about. Like you come in and you're like high-fiving and slapping each other on the back, and like that's the temple vibe. The temple vibe is not like this. Shh, quiet, quiet, don't say anything. No.
Or like the anonymous experience. With
Yeah.
the smaller towns, it's no longer anonymous.
Yeah, the anonymous, not even, yeah, the anonymous, but also like oh, I don't know. There's this, I was trying to talk to some of the guys in my ward about this, and they were trying to like walk me back from this ledge. But I was like, in the temple, it makes more sense to have like more protocols for the different scenarios so that we can help people have a better experience when they're when they don't have the typical presentation. So like if a guy went to the temple 10 years ago and he wants to go back, there's nobody to help him with that unless he asks for it or someone volunteers. The temple doesn't have a thing like that where I can be like, "Hey, temple, I'm coming and I haven't been there in years. And I know because I've been told that if I call you, you can help me out." They're going to be like, "What? No, that's it." So like the temple has like, I guess where I'm going with this. If I was temple president, I would like to make that an effort of going into the stakes and giving my little talk in stake conference and saying, if you want to go to the temple, call me. We'll help you. If you have questions around like the interview process, if you haven't been in a long time, if you have disabilities, whatever your thing is, let me know. We want to get you there. We have like people, I've told all the staff, like be ready for the unexpected. So just let us know what's going on and we'll help you. Whereas right now, that is just not the vibe. The vibe is you come, and if you don't fit into exactly what we're going to be expecting, we're all going to panic. That's the default mode.
And
Is
everybody's going to look at you.
or worse. I mean, they may tell you to go away and come back next week. They may tell you like, "Hey, talk to your bishop first before you talk to us. We don't have any of the answers." Like there's all kinds of worst case scenarios. But yeah, anyway, he
That's
basically
you know that's something I could do as Relief Society president is look at the endowed. What isn't there a metric endowed members who don't have a current temple recommend?
yeah.
And just going to them saying whatever's holding you back,
Yeah, here's the
love
next
to help.
here's the next metric that's coming that we have tuned in on is people who have a current temple recommend that have not been in over 6 months or a year. Because we identified a few of those in our ward, and so we set up a special um what did they call it? It's an endowment session, a key alignment. Have you heard of this yet? I'm sure you have. The key alignment session where like each ward has its own special scheduled session.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that's what they called it.
Yeah, apparently somebody thought that'd be a good catchphrase, but that's what they're calling it. Anyway, so each ward has their own endowment session, and they're wild. Like the vibe is completely different. And we've done it. We did it once and it went really well. And the second time we did it, we said, okay, this one is going to be for the members that haven't been in a long time because we're all going to be there. All the ward members are going to be there. We're going to know everybody in the session and we're all going to be ready to help them. So this is the perfect time for them to go back to the temple for the first time in a year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And so we did that. We got a few people to go with us that hadn't been in a long time. And it was, in my opinion, it was definitely like the preferred way to do it. Because you know everybody, you know that nobody's like judging you or like, man, they're going so slow, or why do we have to wait for them? You get into the celestial room and you're not looking around at a bunch of strangers. I mean, I spent the first 5 minutes in the celestial room just shaking people's hands because I knew everybody there. There's 20 people in the room that I knew. So I go around shaking everybody's hands and stuff. And that's how it is when you walk into the celestial room for the first time, in a year or 5 years, you walk in and there's a bunch of people there like that's the way it's supposed to be. And so that's been really cool to have that be the platform for which you can say, hey, we're going back to the temple. You're going for the first time in a long time, and we're all going to be there, and it's going to be awesome. Instead of this whole like, well, I want to go back, but I don't want to go by myself. Like I won't know anybody there. You know what I mean? It's totally different. So I think it'd be nice to have that metric. I don't even know if, yeah, but the metric of who has a recommend who hasn't been in over 6 months, and then just go ask them like, hey, would you want to go? Like if I went with you, would you go? And then start trying to figure out that. Because the metric of how many people have current temple recommends is one that supposedly people pay attention to. And if they had actual attendance records, that would be pretty, I think people would pay attention to that too. Like it's pretty cool. Just trying to help
You know,
people.
when I first started attending our temple, when it first opened, and seeing all these people I knew, it was so weird to me. Like I had to get used to that.
Like it was wrong.
Yeah, like it was wrong. And last week I went and I think I only saw two people that I knew. And I'm like, well, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
usually see 8 to a dozen.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I went to the temple and I kept seeing people I knew and I felt bad. I felt that I wasn't having a temple experience because I was having so much fun. Like the temple's not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be reverent, somber, whatever. And when you see that many people that you know, that's not what it is. It's fun. It's a blast. And yeah, it took a while to get used to like, oh, this is actually what the temple is supposed to be like. You're supposed to have fun. So
You
totally.
know, and that is interesting because what you're doing, like when we were all at the Sacramento Temple, it's such a huge district that I rarely saw anybody I knew. And then when you come to a small temple, when a small temple is built, like we don't have as many sessions as Sacramento does, but the people who live closer are condensed into those few endowment sessions so that you see people you know.
Mm.
Yeah, and if you think about, I was talking to a guy who grew up in Burley, Idaho, and he said Burley has a temple. He said Burley is small. It's a small town. So you can imagine if a small town has a temple, that almost everybody you're seeing is somebody you know.
Yeah, and the better for it, I think. I mean, that was kind of the idea with the mini temples, just to get more temples, smaller temples in more places.
And so you know, when they were building more smaller temples, I'm like, okay, that's so that it's easier for people to go. Well, there's all these other things that happen, you know, like you attend with people you know.
Yeah, like the Arizona temple back in the day would have had people from South America. So you could be working there as a temple worker for years and never see the same face twice. And you'd be seeing thousands of people.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. All right.